A world filled with supernatural creatures, wacky adventures, and a pair of mismatched best friends. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy is a beloved animated series based on 6 seasons and 86 episodes. Among the main characters, we have William Billy, a 9-year-old human boy who strangely has a low IQ of -5. He has a big, pink nose and beady black eyes inherited from his father Harold, and red hair inherited from his mother Gladys. His main affiliations are Grim and Mandy. Mandy is Billy's best friend, though she treats him more like a servant than a friend. It has been hinting several times that Billy may have underlying feelings for Mandy that he may not even fully realize. Billy is far kinder to Grim than Mandy is, and while he almost always goes against Grim's advice and uses him as a plaything, he appears to like him genuinely, and often tells Grim that he's his best friend. Because Billy often makes foolish wishes, he usually causes trouble for Grim and Mandy. Even though Billy is generally kind and well-behaved, he sometimes gets angry, showing a bit of craziness that even Mandy seems to be afraid of. Overall, Billy is the most innocent of the 3 main characters, but he causes the most problems because of his irrational and impulsive decisions.
I'll say. Oh, come on, Mandy, it could be worse.
Season 1A, Episode 1A, Meet the Reaper. Billy and Mandy might seem like average kids living in Ennsville, but their lives are anything but ordinary. On this particular day, there's a bit of excitement in the air. It's the birthday of Billy's beloved hamster, Mr. Snuggles. The little creature has reached the ripe age of 10. Which is quite an achievement for a hamster. It also means that Mr. Snuggles' time has come to an end. Grim Reaper arrives to collect Mr. Snuggles' soul, expecting the usual terror-stricken reactions he gets from humans. Grim is shocked when neither Billy nor Mandy shows any fear. Instead, Mandy steps up and boldly informs Grim that she won't let him take Mr. Snuggles without a fight. She proposes a challenge. If they win, Mr. Snuggles stays with them, and if Grim wins, he can take the hamster's soul. Grim, confident in his abilities and eager to seal the deal, agrees to the terms. He even throws in an additional clause. If Billy and Mandy win, he'll become their best friend forever. Grim transports the kids to a place where the showdown is set to take place through a classic game of limbo. Determined to ensure his victory, Grim resorts to cheating, bending the rules in his favor. Just when it looks like Grim is about to claim victory, Mandy commands Mr. Snuggles to attack. The feisty hamster leaps into action, disrupting Grim's concentration and causing him to lose the game. Grim lost the game and had to keep his promise. Now he's stuck being Billy and Mandy's best friend forever, even though he doesn't like it. But one thing is for sure, life in Ennsville will never be boring with these 2 kids and their new, unhappy friend. Season 1A, Episode 6, A Dumb Wish. The following episode begins with Billy, Mandy, and Grim busy with spring cleaning. While digging through Grim's old trunk, Billy finds a dusty old lamp. Ignoring Grim's warning, Billy gives it a rub, and out pops the curse Grim had mentioned, his mother. Grateful to be free, Grim's mother decides to grant each of them one wish. Billy, as impulsive as ever, wastes his wish by asking what should he wish for. Sadly, Grim never gets a chance to make his wish because Mandy's wishes for both Billy and Grim were to shut up, which magically zips their lips shut. With the boys silent, Mandy is left to think on her own wish. After some thought, she decides to wish for something that will make her truly happy. She wishes for every human on Earth to disappear. At first, this seems like a brilliant idea. However, when Mandy steps out, she realizes her mistake. The world is entirely still, with not a single person. She heads back inside, now completely alone. Turning off the TV, she pauses to think. Then a sneaky smile spreads across her face. Season 1B, Episode 5A, Grim in Love. This exciting episode begins with Billy, Mandy, and Grim deciding to spend a day at the beach. While Billy and Mandy are busy enjoying the sun and sand, Grim's eyes fall upon a striking gothic woman named Malloria. Instantly smitten, Grim fell head over heels for her. Grim and Malloria start dating, and they have a blast together. From moonlit walks to deep conversations, everything seems perfect. Mandy warns Grim that things might take a dark turn once he reveals his true identity. That he's not a regular guy, but the Grim Reaper himself. Ignoring Mandy's caution, Grim takes Malloria out on another date. In the middle of their dance, he decides it's time to show her who he really is. Grimm performs dazzling feats right there on the dance floor. As Mandy predicted, the revelation is too much for Malloria. She gets terrified and runs away, leaving Grimm heartbroken. Season 1B, Episode 7B, Sister Grimm. This episode begins with Billy and Mandy enjoying a playful afternoon at the park. Billy is having a blast on the swing, while Mandy gives him a strong push. The swing goes so high that Billy soars through the air, rope and all. At that moment, Grimm walks into the scene and stands right where Mandy was. Unfortunately for him, Billy's swing comes back down and smacks right into Grimm, sending him flying. Grimm lands halfway across the world in Europe, covered in paint from a bucket he collided with. Grimm ends up looking like a nun. A confused German painter mistakes Grimm for his sister and takes him to a nearby nunnery. At the nunnery, the younger nuns introduce Grimm to their ways and even give him a nickname, Sister Big Mama. Sister Big Mama. Though Grimm tries to explain that he's not a nun but the Grim Reaper, he eventually decides to roll with it. Pretending to be Sister Big Mama, Grimm bonds with the younger nuns and has a surprisingly good time. Meanwhile, Billy and Mandy are on a mission to bring Grimm back home. They track him down to the nunnery and ask the painter where he is. With a chuckle, the painter tells them Grimm is reaping behind the fence he's painting. They're understandably upset when Billy and Mandy finally reveal the truth about Grimm to the nuns. Grimm apologizes for deceiving them, but assures them he genuinely enjoyed spending time with them. Touched by his honesty and the fun they had together, the nuns forgive Grimm. As a farewell gesture, they launch Grimm, Billy, and Mandy back home to Ennsville. Season 2, Episode 12A, Attack of the Clowns. The episode starts with Billy waking up from yet another nightmare about clowns. His fear of clowns has reached a new high, so Mandy and Grimm decide to help him get over it. First, Mandy asks Grimm to bring a papier-mâché clown head to life, hoping it will entertain Billy. But the spell doesn't seem to work. Next, Mandy and Grimm dress up as clowns, trying to look friendly and harmless. Despite their efforts, Billy remains terrified. Frustrated, Grimm loses his patience. He grabs Billy and shakes him, yelling at him to stop being afraid of clowns. Billy retreats to his happy place, where he consults with his imaginary inner frat boy. This imaginary friend helps Billy switch his feelings from fear to anger. Billy grabs Grimm's Sith with newfound rage and starts attacking the clowns. Now, Billy seems to be cured of his fear of clowns. Just when it looks like things have settled, the papier-mâché clown comes to life and eats them. Luckily, the clown has a balloon animal body, so everyone is perfectly fine inside it. However, after this crazy adventure, Billy, Mandy, and Grimm all share one thing. They now hate clowns. Season 4, Episode 3B, The Taking Tree. The episode starts with Billy, Mandy, and Grimm noticing that things around the house have been disappearing mysteriously. Determined to solve the mystery, they use a supernatural detector to investigate. Their search leads them to a talking tree in Billy's yard. Its name is Eldridge Johnson Mayer, and he's been stealing objects since Billy's dad Harold was a child. Eldridge revealed he won't give anything back until he gets the one thing that will make him happy. To find out what Eldridge wants, Mandy and Grimm trade the stolen belongings for a highly valued Mickey Munchell baseball card. However, instead of the card, they return from the baseball shop with the real Mickey Munchell himself. Eldridge is thrilled and returns all the stolen items, but keeps Mickey Munchell. A squirrel monster inside the tree attacks Mickey. Season 6, Episode 11B, Heartburn. The last episode begins with Billy discovering an old camera in Grimm's trunk. Excited, he started snapping pictures. Grimm then tells him that it's not an ordinary camera, but an Underworld's true heart camera, which reveals the true essence of a person's heart. Curious, Mandy decides to take a picture of Erwin. The photo shows that Erwin is half good and half evil. Surprised, Erwin explains that although he was born evil, his dad Dick taught him about love and respect, leading him to change his ways. This revelation has an unexpected effect on Mandy. Despite her usual tough demeanor, she begins to experience a disturbing transformation. Mandy becomes good, innocent, trusting, and warm-hearted, all qualities completely opposite of her usual self. The story takes another twist when Mandy and Erwin share a romantic kiss. This magical moment makes Mandy revert to her old, dark, and sinister self. Erwin reveals that this was his true intention all along, as he likes Mandy just the way she is. So, this brings us to the end of our journey through some of the most iconic episodes of the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for related videos. Goodbye.